This is David Cohen, and believe it or not, I was wrong. Why was I wrong? Where was I wrong? Now, let's start with the background. Recently, in the last few days, Fujifilm released its already rumored new camera, the X100. You will see some product photos here from FujiFilm's channel and website. But what I have to say is this is a masterpiece. Now, one of the, well, actually, the only real inspiration I have on the net is Hugh Brownstone with his channel 3 Blind Men and an Elephant. And he once again made a brilliant clip, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, as always, going into depth. So if you really want to know about a hands-on experience, you gotta listen to him, you gotta book his channel. I'm not paid to do this. This is my absolute sincere and deep conviction. Now, I'm not going into specs. But why was I wrong? Now, for a long time, together with the development of smartphones in general and one companies in particular, I increasingly saw a future for smartphones doing photography. What I have to say is Yasmina, I increasingly used and still extensively use smartphones for our clips. Why? Because they're always there. Their computational photography, also called artificial intelligence and all of this computational whatever, really brought us to the point where a dedicated film camera makes no sense for us. We are too small for that. It is very bulky. It means additional gear, additional weight, additional bulk. But the phone you always have, and we invested a lot. I told you in one of my previous videos, we renewed our equipment for more than €1,000, all going into smartphone videography, but we can also use it when nothing else is available. Now, increasingly, on this channel, we use FujiFilm X106, and this is really the only and first time one of my cameras is being used for clips. Now, I don't want to seem petty. I still have to mention it's not me who uses this camera. It is Yasmina. Thanks again in this moment and right here for doing all the work. Without, I couldn't do that channel. But she found out, she realized the potential of the X106. I'm still not there, not really. Anyway, so I even saw the day coming, maybe I would live to see that day, where smartphones could replace cameras. Now, with the comeback of the Leica Deluxe 8, a very compact camera at a very reasonable price, at least here in Europe. In America, the tariffs make it quite more expensive. But the X106, this camera, okay, it's not that pocketable, but the Deluxe 8 is very pocketable. And now Fujifilm's X100 is really a game changer. A very small camera with a very small fixed lens, around 32 millimeters when you do the conversion, 17 megapixel. It has, it offers all the film simulations. You have on the other hand, only the display, a very small display, but the real game changer of this camera is that it is what already Pentax did, and we used to have this before in the analog days. So out of a still of 24-36, which became full format, it is now half. So you either take 1/2 of this in portrait mode, as you do with your iPhone or your Samsung or your Sony. So you hold normally your smartphone like this. Now you hold a small camera that is even smaller in terms of width than a smartphone, the usual suspects, and you take portrait photos while holding the camera like this. That means if you want to have landscape, you simply turn the camera that way. Now, a lot of people, like Paltotech, he is the Fuji authority, if you want to say that. Still, I value Hugh Brownstone so much more. But in terms of Fuji, Paltotech, you will find the link. Says, no, it's not for the beginner. It is more for intermediates and professionals, or advanced amateurs, professionals meaning making a living on it, because these limitations are too much. Now here, I totally disagree. When you come from smartphone photography, you don't have a viewfinder. You're used to a display. So I never saw anybody taking his smartphone, they're used to do this or that. Tuck, 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 tuck. Yeah? It offers the very popular film simulations based on FujiFilm's analog films of the analog days. It has a very reasonable price, around 800 euros. Paltotech says this is a lot of money. Every major smartphone capable of nice photography is at least 800, if not more. Now, the usual suspects will say, yeah, but people already have a smartphone. We are not talking about these, and we are not talking about you, my dear influencers. We're talking about people who maybe for the first time in their lives started or came across photography, found their way around smartphones. Now they want to take the next step. They want to go to a camera. And they don't want to learn, Paltotech mentioned this. It is limiting because they don't get to know and experience the exposure triangle of shutter speed, ISO, and aperture. They don't care. They don't care. This is why they stayed and began with a smartphone. And if they care, they will find out when they hold this camera in their hands, because they will see that the next step is actually the camera that I originally intended as a travel camera, everyday camera, that turned into my professional camera and now takes not the back seat, but still first row, but P2 to my Leica Q343, because you cannot beat that camera. That camera, Leica towers above everything. And I'm not paid to say that. I wouldn't take money to say something that goes against my intention or my will or my views. I'm stubborn as hell.
That's true.
And, yeah. And even if you tried to bribe me, I would be even more angry and expose you for that. True?
True.
Yeah. So I think Fuji made a terrific, had a terrific concept. What on the one side, they came up with the GFX 100 RF, a brilliant step upward from the X106. And now the X half is a step not down or up, in that sense, but going both directions. That was for very demanding photographers, for challenging situations, not for me, because that's not my job. And for me, any camera, unfortunately, like an M series included, a camera without IBIS is not for me. I cannot use it professionally, and I don't need a third camera. Like a Deluxe 8 is my second camera. So now, based around, and that so far nobody has said, based around the X100 series with the brilliant upgrade of the Mark VI, Fujifilm built an ecosystem of X-HAF, so you move from smartphone to X-HAF to 106, and then you decide. You stay within Fujifilm, then you have the choice to continue with APC and different models, or you go to mid format, or you go to Leica, which in many cases happens. That is my point. Brilliant, and I was wrong, and I'm happy I was wrong. Truth be told, as much as I thought that this would be the future and it would be a nice future, no, I came to appreciate the fact that it is a camera. I realized that. I'm very modern, I'm very, trailblazer and all of that. But in the end, a small, thin smartphone, no matter what you put on it, and Leica's grip is I don't know how to put it, is a dramatic, is an excellent step forward. But still, it is not there. I appreciate to hold my Fujifilm, my two Leicas in my hands. Sometimes I just play around. So I was wrong, and I hope I will continue to be wrong. Hugh Brownstone says he doesn't know whether this is going to be a complete failure or a genius stroke. I think it is already a genius stroke. It is only a matter of if the people realize what they're being offered. Sony's Betamax system and video recorders was the best around. The idiots didn't see it. Philips Grundig's Video 2000 was a brilliant invention. The people didn't understand it because that's what it is when, whatever. Now, talking about Leica previously, these, not these, why am I saying these?
I don't know.
Yeah. Recently, we went to Vienna just for one event taking place at the Leica store in the center of Vienna. A beautiful small store, but beautiful, and awesome people. And on the first floor, as in many Leica stores, you have the so-called Leica gallery. And there we had the presentation of a very experienced Austrian photographer, Armin Walcher. We came to meet a lot of people we had never seen. We saw two familiar faces, one of them we are close with, who actually sent us the link. And now we are going to be in Vienna for these events more often. We are also going to pay more attention in Germany and the Netherlands, where we visit, to see their program, to participate. And we really enjoyed it. It was, what do you think? I think you enjoyed it. We made some photos.
I did.
I'm going to post some of them on my second Instagram channel. You still find all my links in linktree.ee/David Cohen. You will find the link underneath, not as a link, but in the video feed. So, once again, my two favorite companies, Leica and Fujifilm, made my clip, and I enjoyed doing also other photography. As a matter of fact, I wish you all the best. I'm looking forward to your reactions. As I said, I love discussions, but I don't like the typical idiotic, like, they will fail. How do you know? Yeah? Or this is a bullshit camera. FujiFilm, I read this recently and I deleted that comment. They betrayed their customers. You don't even realize that such comments expose you in the courts of law. You are actually trying to harm a company. And sometimes I even forward such comments to their legal departments, because we creatives, models, us creatives and camera and gear producers, we are not fair game for some idiots who think that despite their lack of education and or experience, they know everything better. I will not stand for it. In that sense, I wish you all the best. Have a look at the camera. Put yourself into, on the one hand, Fuji's shoes, and look at it with you out of the picture. Look at it, what does it offer and what can I do with it? You don't buy a hammer to fix something in your kitchen, I mean, in terms of cooking. Yeah? So that's the comparison. Have a nice day, have a nice Sunday, and see you next week.